Hello everyone, Davey here. So as promised, I am bringing you guys my first ever top 5 video games of the year, and in this case it is of the year of 2015. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I managed to play enough games to bring you guys a top 5 video games of 2015 in that year. Didn't play enough to bring you guys the top 10 because to do that you need to play you need to play just more than 10 games. You can't just do 10 or under. It just kind of defeats the purpose. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now before I do get started with the actual countdown, I feel like I need to go ahead and give some honorable mentions because there were a couple of games that rather impressed me. They just didn't make the cut. One of them is actually a game that everybody was really talking about from last year that was getting several accolades, but then when I finished playing it, I thought to myself, this was a great game. But I just feel like it was just a slight reskin of the last game, and that was Rise of the Tomb Raider. If you guys have been following my videos, you'll know that I did a playthrough for that game some while back, and I do have the slight intention to review the game, but due to my recent shakeup about what I should actually review to kind of get some more views, get a broader audience, and to actually provide content that people want to watch, please let me know in the comments if you guys want to actually see a review from me for Rise of the Tomb Raider, because for right now I'm kind of indecisive, so just let me know. But I do think that was a really great game that was given to us this year. I just didn't think it really made the cut because it just didn't take the leaps that I felt like it should have taken for it being a sequel, because I felt like they should have traveled to different areas instead of kind of keeping it isolated on this mountain, similar to how they did in the first game, which I understood in the first game because it was an origin story. Here, I just felt like they should have explored new things and new ideas, except the environment was isolated. It looked beautiful, but it was just in one area, as well as the story was rather too familiar. And my other honorable mention, I only got two, is Until Dawn. Until Dawn was a really great concept. Some things could have been tweaked a little bit better, and the gameplay could have been a little deeper, but besides that, it took a concept that I actually thought about some time ago, and they actually went along with it and given us a rather unique game. And one of the highlights, and one of the bigger surprises of 2015. At number 5 is generally a game that you wouldn't really find on a countdown video such as this, because when you think of 2015, you think of some of the bigger heavyweights, some of which you might find in this video, but Mad Max was a genuine surprise to me that I just felt a little bit addicted to towards the very end, where I just couldn't stop myself from wanting to upgrade the car, upgrade Max, and explore this world that's very beautiful and rather glitch-free. Every so often there's a little hiccup, especially when it comes to doing some of the side missions that wouldn't go according to plan, that wouldn't go right. But other than that, I had a genuine sense of fun playing within the wasteland as Mad Max. And I know that part of it could be, I guess you could say, nepotism, because of the fact of how much I loved Mad Max Fury Road, and because of that I'm like, I'm so addicted to this game because I'm sucked into this universe after having watched that movie. But nevertheless, Mad Max is a really well-made game that I feel is actually one of the underdogs of 2015, and I just couldn't keep it away from being in my top 5 list. If you guys want to know more about what I thought about the game, be sure to check out my review on my channel. Number 4 is yet another big surprise that was released so early in the year that it kind of got shrouded a little bit, considering how much more of those bigger games were released around October and November, but that is Dying Light. And I know I have not reviewed this game, so I'm trying to keep myself from going into full detail in explaining why it's in my list, but let's just say that similar to Mad Max, I found myself becoming addicted to want to complete some of the side missions within the city of Haran, and killing zombies is ultimately satisfying. And I know that there was this sense of hesitance to wanting to accept this game as one of the best of the year, considering this from Deep Silver, who brought us Dead Island, which was in no means a bad game, but it was a very misleading one considering that freaking trailer. That trailer that just grabbed us by the feels and just didn't let go, with the girl getting bitten and the reverse editing type of thing. And then we got Dead Island, we got Sam B rapping about, "Who do you voodoo, bitch?" And I was like, just like, okay, yeah. This is totally different than what we were expecting, but nevertheless, we had fun. With Dying Light, we have fun, and our expectations were matched with what we were promised by giving it this 80s feel with not only the story and the characters, but also the synthesizer score that I found kind of addicted to listen to. And also what I think I wouldn't say saved the game for me because it wasn't bad, but what really made the game for me what was the period at the end of this game, was the main character, who was very relatable because there were so many somewhat meta moments where the guy is literally asking other people, like, why are you sending me to go do this? I mean, us gamers, we often complain about fetch quests sending us to go do some really remedial stuff that is really not necessary, especially when a fucking zombie apocalypse hits, and the guy actually has the nads to tell the other person, like, why can't you just go do that yourself? And then the game provides a reason to say, oh, because of this. But it's cool that they made a relatable character that I can sympathize with and that I can actually root for as the game progresses in a world that gives me an awful lot of joy and fun in killing zombies. And similar with Rise of the Tomb Raider, if you guys want me to review the game, please let me know in the comments below. Okay, so this is where my list got a little tough. At number 3 is in fact Fallout 4. I know that several people were expecting Fallout 4 to probably be my number 1, but keep in mind that this was my first Fallout game, and I could go into detail as to why it ends up in this list, and if you guys want to hear about said details and you're new to my channel, I have a 30-minute review on the damn game on my channel, so be sure to check that out. But I'm just going to summarize with this, that this is my first Fallout game in the entire series. I have Fallout 3 in New Vegas, but I haven't had a chance to play them, and once the time came around, it was only like within a month of Fallout 4's release that I just thought, fuck it, just put those games away and just play something else until Fallout 4 comes out, and you buy that day one and play it all the way through. And so I played it, and I do find it to be one of the best games of the year. I just felt like it could have been better in certain areas that I think Bethesda needs to pay attention to, with not just the Fallout series, but also even the Elder Scrolls series. That just that remind me an awful lot of some of those Elder Scrolls games, particularly Oblivion, where I'm like, wow, they still haven't fixed this type of thing, because obviously they use the similar type of engine, like the format and the way it all plays out, pretty similar except with the different aesthetics. And I feel like Bethesda still needs to fix some of those things, especially their infamous bugs that really do hinder a little bit of the experience. Don't get me wrong, this does make me want to play Fallout 3 New Vegas, just not anytime soon because I just invested so much time with this game. But the time that I did invest in, I don't regret, because this game is very beautiful, it's very large, very expensive, and once again, those side missions make it very addictive to want to upgrade my character, level myself up, and try to fill up that damn Vault-Tec perk system that's just so bountiful with plenty of rewards and plenty of reasons to keep playing. Okay, so number 2 is Tales from the Borderlands. Now, I know episode 1 of this Telltale game series premiered back in November of 2014, but by majority rules, 4 of the 5 episodes premiered throughout the year of 2015, so it's a 2015 game. I'm counting it as that. But Tales of the Borderlands, once again, another game that I did not manage to review because I was kind of late on it, but right before the end of the year, 1 week straight, I played all 5 episodes, and I fell in love with it. I just couldn't get enough of wanting to follow the antics of our primary 2 main characters and the supporting characters, and just follow the story that was so beautifully well written by the developers over at Telltale Games, while at the same time capturing the tone from the Gearbox Borderlands first-person shooter games, particularly 2 and pre-sequel, because the first one is like that first couple of movies from a movie director where they're still trying to find their style and what the tone that they're actually going to become known by. And then it was with 2 where you kind of get a sense of what the series, the tone and the humor that the series was going for. And Tales from the Borderlands adapts that beautifully, while at the same time giving us characters that I really cared about, and just some beautiful animation by replicating the cel-shaded look. And much like with other Telltale games, it does have its hindrances, particularly in the gameplay, where it's not too deep. It's much more of a, I just got an email, it's much more of an interactive experience rather than a full-on video game. And being that it's so light in tone, some of the big decisions that you would make in other Telltale games, like with The Walking Dead, are not as hefty. And there's an element in the game that you see in some of the promotional material, but for spoiler's sake, if you're very fresh to this series, I'm not going to spoil it, but I just felt like I could have done without it. By the end of the 5th episode, I was like, was this truly necessary? It had its moments, but was the inclusion of this element truly necessary? Despite that, plenty of great moments, both in humor that just had me laughing, and also in heart that made me love these characters. And I couldn't get enough of it to the point where I want there to be a season 2, because the ending leaves it a little ambiguous to the point where they may or may not go on for a full second season, and that has me worried because I genuinely feel like this was one of Telltale series' best video game interactive series. Number 1, Batman Arkham Knight. I mean, there was no getting around to it. This was my most anticipated game of 2015. And you could argue that I'm fanboying, but I'll be the first to admit that this game does in fact have flaws. One of them was one of the things that people were looking forward to that revolves around the Arkham Knight, as well as one of the more controversial mechanics in the game that I will not argue against. I'll be like, I totally get it. But that doesn't keep away from the fact that this generally felt like the final entry in the Arkham franchise, that I generally want Rocksteady to venture off into other properties. Other properties that don't have to do with superheroes. I mean, there's rumors that they might do a Justice League type of thing, especially with some of the Easter eggs in this game, but I want them to do other things with the same engine and with the same creative drive, because Arkham Knight definitely felt like they were paying attention to the story and wanted to bring things back in full circle. Has one of the some of the more memorable moments from the gaming industry within this past year, and it's flat out one of the games out of this entire list that I wouldn't mind replaying anytime soon. Maybe even hit that New Game Plus and just try to see if I can beat it a second time around. And if you guys want to know more about what I thought about Arkham Knight, as well as both in the spoiler-free department, an overall review, as well as a spoiler-filled discussion about the story itself, check out both of those videos in my channel. And if my math is correct, that should be about it. So please let me know in the comments what your guys' favorite games of 2015 were. What are you looking forward to in 2016? It was very important for me to get this video done in at least within this month, before even February comes around, because even then we get some new games coming out like Far Cry Primal. In March we got The Division, and then in April, after another delay, we got Uncharted 4, which in my opinion is my most anticipated game of 2016. We got a couple of others that are rumored to be released later on in the year, like Mass Effect 4, Gears of War 4, a lot of 4s, and Kingdom Hearts 3, a lot of sequels. But that does not make me look forward to those games any less. And besides that, what were some of the big moments in the gaming industry within 2015? Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time, and please let me know what, out of the 2 games that I did not review this past year that did make it into my top 5, which one would you actually like to see a full-on review of? Let me know in the comments below, and I will be bringing you guys a top 10 movies of 2015 very soon. Still working on that. I at least have one more movie left to watch. I might have said that before, but I just got one more movie left to watch before I finally make that video, because it's coming along great, and I'm looking forward to bringing you guys that said video as well. Be sure to subscribe, share this video, like it, follow me on Twitter, all that good shit, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.